there has been a hit over Asia, possibly Russia, not to ask any questions, and there's an information blackout happening right starting now. So this is just the news that this person is giving us. He is in some touch with some particular people in the background as well. And so you're getting it here on Project Camelot, Whistleblower Radio. I have to say that I also had, I guess you might call it a premonition, that I felt that Camelot had to be on the air, on the airwaves at this time, and that there would be times like today, like this moment, when news would be coming so fast and so furious that it would be absolutely crucial that we were sort of there and able to talk about it and to people and make people aware of what was going on behind the scenes. So this is feeding into exactly what I had sort of seen, and it's very fascinating. I guess there's also some more things to unfold. I think we're going to be going to a bottom of the hour commercial very shortly here. And there's some music right on cue, as it were. So we will be back on the other side of this bottom of the hour, and we will continue. And this is Project Camelot, Whistleblower Radio on the Micro Effect. Hey, this is Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot, Whistleblower Radio, and we are back. And I believe we still have David Wilcock here. David, you there?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so we got some very interesting news right at the bottom of the hour right there. I cannot elaborate. I'm told not to even delve into that. There is something going on. It's interesting because at some point you never know if it's going to hit the real news, the so-called consensus reality news, if you will.
Right.
But you are hearing it here from a person who is a legitimate source that we know quite well. Anyway,
there was a little bit more on that Obama story I wanted to go into because it's really, really relevant. Think about the White House gate crashers. Think about these folks, the Salahis, who got into the White House at this particular party, passed security, and were able to attend the event and photograph themselves with Rahm Emanuel and Joe Biden, et cetera, all under the guise of being people that were known, and they got right through security even though they weren't on the guest list. What you may not know is that very night was the night that Obama had this same meeting with the Indian Prime Minister where he said, again, we are surrounded by great friends. The most beautiful things in the universe are the starry heavens above us and the feeling of duty within us. We celebrate the spirit that will sustain the bonds of friendship between our people. So this is very clearly, this is what Richard Hoagland and I are thinking, and we're actually co-authoring a piece that's going to come out on my website, Divine Cosmos, about this, that those people knew Obama, and the reason why they're unwilling to testify is probably because they were asked to go. And they were asked to go because what happened is, since they were already known and Secret Service says, oh, yeah, we know you guys, come on in. It was an attempt to test the waters of security around the White House because obviously one of the things they're most paranoid about is when they make this disclosure announcement, are they going to have the security to stop everybody in the cabinet, including Obama, from being shot? And so they're going to need to tighten up security. They're going to need to find out who can they trust in the Secret Service, who's the mole, who's the leak, and is the Secret Service really on their toes and watching out for what could happen? So this seems to be some friends of Obama's that were asked to do this. They heroically did it to test the security on the same night that he makes this very, very enigmatic statement in his address about the starry heavens and being surrounded by great friends and the bonds of friendship that need to be formed between our people. So look, if you know what you're looking for and you look at the pieces of data, seemingly strange stories like that don't make any sense, just like what this guy Dr. Beater was saying in the 70s, they start making sense when you understand that you got warring factions in the elite, some of which want disclosure, some of which do not. But I think we're at a tipping point. And again, the V television program very, very obviously is propagandizing disclosure to try to make it look like if Obama comes out with this, that he's being led by these reptilian evil beings. They're name-dropping universal health care. They're name-dropping the swine flu vaccine as being this thing in which an alien virus is being introduced into humanity. Now, the show doesn't tell you what the point of that thing being put in the swine flu vaccine is for just yet. But the fact that it showed up in this television program at all, they're getting so audacious and bold, it's like they don't even care anymore. They're just putting it right out in front of your face. And I think as far as V goes, it's an attempt to try to steer the right-wing fundamentalist Christian types into thinking that when Obama makes this announcement, that it's the preface to a massive alien invasion that's going to be very evil and ultimately lead to our destruction.
Well, now that you mention it, I have to say that, our recent interview, which I encourage everyone to go and watch if they haven't already done so, with Jordan Maxwell, in which he basically talks about that very thing, is a case in point. I mean, you basically have to decide whether or not that announcement, if such an announcement is made, and I'm not actually so convinced that such an announcement will be made, but I do believe the covert, the sort of background stuff will continue to happen, and the plausible deniability will continue for quite some time. I do think that we will have, if we have disclosure, I believe that it's going to come sort of at the tail end of some other cataclysmic situations. But at any rate, I think that there is a negative contingent out there, and I do believe that disclosure may involve just that group. In other words, the positive EPs, on a certain level, first of all, they've already disclosed to individuals around the planet, and they are there. They're there sort of watching over and making themselves apparent to certain individuals, like myself, like yourself, and like some other people out there. And, I'm not so sure that a disclosure is coming from them, I guess, in essence. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. The breathing situation is always a question.
But again, the whole basis of the White House party crashers and the things that Obama is saying, it's almost like they're like urging to say it. They just want to say it so bad, but they can't quite do it yet. And then he makes this speech at the UN, not the UN, but in Norway to accept the Peace Prize. And they got this spiral that manifests the day before, hours before he's gonna accept the award. So I would be more on the side of being willing. I've been in this field since 1996 online when I started to write comprehensive articles on Richard Hoagland's discussion forum. That was my first entree into all this publicly. So I've got a 13-year track record here. I have never before said anything indicating disclosure might happen. This is the first time I've ever gone with this, because what we're seeing is not only the insider testimony, which, like we heard from Peterson, 3 different highly positioned sources, some of which are amazing if you knew who they were, and they're saying this is going to happen. But again, if you remember, Carrie, Peterson also was of the belief that by November of this year that we would be in the middle of a total economic nightmare situation, which obviously hasn't happened.
Sadly, I have to say that, Pete Peterson is absolutely a brilliant man. You could sit and listen to him all day and all night and just go for weeks at a time, I have to say. The fount of his knowledge is just so amazing. But at the same time, whistleblowers are programmed. They are given information, and he admits freely that they have been told information about the downturn economically that was supposed to happen since 2001, I believe.
Correct. Correct.
And it hasn't happened, and he knows it hasn't happened.